Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you today? Welcome to People Are Normal and a giant new Wednesday to each and all of us. Well, how have you been since we last talked? When I talked to you before, the little video that I made, what happened was we had some technical difficulties. So what I'm going to do tonight is we're going to redo the show that we were supposed to do about a week ago. So we're going to redo that show. I'm quite sure you're going to enjoy it. Now, what's in the news? Well, UFOs. I know what you know what UFOs are. Unidentified flying objects. Everybody's seeing things nowadays. I listen to the radio at night. Usually around 7:30, 8 o'clock. I'll listen to the radio for the rest of the night. And there's a lot of talk about unidentified flying objects, where people, they see flying saucers or they see lights in the sky and so forth. Well, there's a lot of talk about Roswell. Roswell. Roswell was this place where supposedly aliens landed, they crash landed in a place called Roswell. And supposedly now, this is what they say, that little bodies were recovered. They found little bodies, little Martians. They had typical little Martians. They said it was, and they got a lot of eyewitnesses who said it was true. But the government said no. They told them they better not tell nobody. The people that were working there and the people who witnessed it and everything, they were afraid because the government said they better not tell it. They better not tell anything that happened about that. So, but there were so many eyewitnesses and so many accounts of it that people said that it's actually true. And if you go to Roswell, the town is a UFO town. Everything is UFO, So they say it's true. But what do you think? About a UFO? Unidentified. Do you believe in extraterrestrials? Do you believe that other beings, maybe a lot more intelligent than we are actually observing us? Well, this is what they say. This is what the experts are saying, that we are being observed from space. Aliens, maybe aliens that we can't see, and so forth. Now, everybody got their own opinion about this. I got my opinion, for whatever it's worth. I believe. Now, when I look at my environment, I look at our civilization, I look at our technology, and what we actually can do and what we can accomplish. When I look at that, I say to myself, well, suppose. Now, I'm saying suppose. I'm not saying that this is true. I'm saying suppose that we have advanced our civilization on Earth. We people have advanced so far into the future that it is us coming back to the past. You see what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm talking about? You us. You with whatever if we live to be in the future that far, maybe another what 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 10,000 years in the future, and found a way to come back to the past in order to change things. When you see a UFO, how you know? Maybe it has come through another dimension from our own future to check us out, to make sure that we are doing okay. You see? Maybe this is why we have this new calendar. Who's to say that the aliens, we ourselves as aliens in the future, that has come back to the past and delivered such a calendar for better guidance? Right? Why not? I mean, it seems natural to me. But this is for people who, if you believe in that sort of thing. You know what I mean? Okay. We're going to talk about determination tonight. The world, what's happening, the world events, what's going on? The world seems like a hyper world, don't it? I mean, it seems so very hyper. I mean, things are, every time you look around, people are being awed. They're being awed. They're being, there is, like everything is a big surprise. They don't know what's going to happen next. What's going to go on? And so when we talk about determination, everybody knows what determination is. The average person say, I'm determined to do this or I'm determined to do that. And determination means that you have made up in your mind that you are going to do something. You are determined to do it. You don't give up. You hang in there and you keep up. It's just like our world. We are determined. But when we look at it, when we say determined, we're talking about actually being determined. Determination, the first thing you got to look at when you think of determination, you got to look at three things. Number one, danger. The world is full of danger. Anything you do, you breathe. When you breathe in oxygen, you breathe in oxidation. You know that the actual air that you breathe in is oxidation, because it steals the oxygen steals electrons from the cells in your body, and then the cells in your body have to find other electrons or they become hot cells. Like when you exercise, you really oxidize. That's why antioxidants are very important. Everybody should always do their antioxidant, because our oxygen actually causes us damage. So, but they're driving your cars. There's so many accidents, slip and fall, diseases. We live in a world of danger and damages. Number two, damages. From these dangers comes damages. And we are damaged in all sorts of ways. Not only physically, but our lives are damaged. Our way of life is damaged many times, And people have to go through a demanding world. Stress, what we call stress. We have to experience the psychological and biological reactions that we have to that stress. And then the third is destruction. That is when things is destroyed. You know, your body is destroyed. The things around you are destroyed in many different ways. So, danger, damage, and destruction. That is the world that we live. That is the composition of the world that we live in. But we are determined to survive. That's what stress is. Stress demands that we survive. We live in a stressful world. We don't know what's going to happen as a result of the things we do. But we have a measure of control. We can control a lot of things that we do, but a lot of times, you know, it kind of get out of hand, and you can't control things sometimes, you know. And that's where we have those accidents, and that, you know, you have to watch, like the danger, damage, and destruction. You have to always be aware of that. The possibilities of it getting out of hand where you're not able to control it. Because it is what we have to deal with every day. That is what we have to deal with. Danger, damage, and destruction. Not only from each other, but from the weather. And from many other things. The way we think. You see. We are moral beings. In other words, within this 3D world, we are moral beings. We are determined in this determination. We are determined as moral beings in a world of determination. Understand what I'm saying? Because danger, damage, and destruction is just as determined as we are to avoid it and control it. So you have two entities that are determined. You see, we are the moral being, righteous and good. The morality of the thing, being righteous and good. But then again, they say, what is the moral? Is that moral? Are you a moral person if you do not comply with danger, damage, and destruction? If you do not serve it? Are you an immoral person? So, there's a question of, is that true or false? Being in servitude to danger, damage, and destruction. It could be true that it is the good, or it could be false that it is the good. But some people these days, they serve that. And that is what we are up against. We are up against those people that serve it. Those people that are implicitly behaved by such. You see, they might call all criminals, bad people, evil people, things like that. People that, you know, they can't control themselves. And then again, they got some people that can't control themselves, but they have groups that actually make a living at it. You see. So, and then we're looking at our natural entity, which are the things that we have. The automobiles, the homes, the clothes, you know, and all the other things that we have, the furniture and everything. Those are our natural entities. Those are the entities where we have feelings. In other words, those are our feelings. A chair, a car, a home, you know, comfortable things, money, good jobs and all that kind of stuff. Out of determination. This is where our feelings, we show our feelings. We describe ourselves. What are human beings? Those things are our being. It describes us. Those are our feelings. That's how we feel about living. That's how we feel about our life, our culture, our social society. But then, if damage, danger, and destruction takes over, we become emotional about our feelings. Our feelings about what we have, we become emotional about it. You have a car that's been damaged. You become emotional about that. And you feel it. Your car, your home, or something, the weather. You ever see what tornadoes do to homes and carrying on? You know how those people feel? They're very emotional about it. So that's what we have to deal with: danger, damage, and destruction. This is where the stress comes in, where we have to hang in there. In other words, we have to hang in there. We got, from danger, damage, and destruction, we living in that world. We form theories in order to organize ourselves. Questions. We have to answer questions. We have to realize who we are. We have to answer questions about our character. We have to answer questions about our relationship with each other and our differences. How do we live with our differences? Because you live in one country, you live in another country, you are one country. How do we live with those differences? We have to answer the question. How do we live with those for the greater good? In order to overcome danger, damage, and destruction, and live comfortably, which is supposed to be our moral good and righteousness. We organize ourselves and we develop conduct, rules, regulations, and laws to govern us. Just like now, the leaders of the world, that's what they have to do. They have to answer questions about how can we better ourselves and how can we live together in peace. But then remember, you got those out there that is going to serve danger, damage, and destruction because they believe that way. Not only, they don't have to believe that way because the impulse inside will take over. You know, we call it anger. We call it fear. And that is inside us. You know, how do you react from the pressure and the strain of the day's world? Do you regret a lot of things that you're doing? Is your temper getting to you where you can't hardly get along with nobody? And things not working out very well for you because of your temper? Because it's unclear to you what's happening in this world, and you have this inner fear within you that's causing you to be depressed? You distrust people. You start distrusting your own family. You start distrusting your friends, the people you work with. Your mind start playing tricks on you about things. And And please, 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 don't let your mind play tricks on you about what we were talking about extraterrestrial and UFOs. Because we can talk about that later on, because sometimes people, they'll, they'll, um, they'll misinterpret things, you see, and they'll misinterpret it and say, well, um, their spirituality, their beliefs, and so forth. But this brings me to another thing I wanted to say. And when we're talking about relationships and forming relationships within a determined world, we're determined to keep good relationships with each other. But our leadership, sometimes when we answer questions about how we ought to live in order to achieve the good life, sometimes the leadership, they are what they call biased. And in being biased, they're going to, they're going to look at things, or they're going to seek answers that benefit them. Not so much as you, or others, but to benefit them, the seeker of the answer. The seeker of the answer want to benefit himself and his own group and his own beliefs, or her beliefs, or whatever. So that's why a lot of times they call it fake news, fake news, fake news. How can we say it's fake news? We can say it's too much good loving. Because you want things to work out for you. Your way. That's like somebody, you see things working out for somebody else, you want that to work out for you. Because you are disadvantaged. You feel disadvantaged. So you're going to worry about it. So that's what we're dealing with now. That's what we're dealing with. Every country wants things to work out for the best for their country. So we're getting a lot of fake answers that benefit the seekers. And if you, as people and individuals, have anything to say about it, well, you could get in trouble. So you don't want to talk too much about what's going on. You want to allow your leadership to take care of things. They're going to be determined. Your leadership is determined. But you're going to have to be determined to make sure that they make the right decisions for you. But you say, what can you say? What can we do? The leadership do what all we can do is stand back and let things happen. No, you don't. You know why? Because every leadership they have wives, they have children, they have families, and they have jobs. Which means that they're just like you and I. They have to take care of their families. So when we look at the world as a family, more so than a political thing or different countries but as the human family, well, we have to take care of each other and see that things is working for, I don't want to be mad at that country over there because that country is different. They've got different ways, different culture. They're human beings. I want friends. I want them to be my friends. I want all of them to be my friends. And on the other side of the coin, they should want me to be their friends. So we're going to work at us being friends. What is it that will make a better friendship? That is the question. That is what we have to do. And if we are in the future, if we are that greatest area, if we are that we seek, then uh, our world demands, our existence demands that we be determined to survive. We are convinced of that in many ways. You know what convinces us that we should be determined to survive? Danger, damage, and destruction. That's why. The reality of what's going on. We ask ourselves many questions. We all want to be accepted. I think we said that once before. We want to be accepted. Every country want to be accepted by another country. But remember what I was saying about serving danger, damage, and destruction. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's wrong. But what I am saying is that think of your families. When you serve in danger, damage, and destruction, think of your families. Think about love. Think about sharing our world with each other and our environment. Think about sharing, being the future, sharing itself with us. The years ahead, sharing itself with us. Are we not obligated in some way? So if we keep that in mind, I believe that we'll be all right. We have like consideration. We have to be considerate, especially to each other. Forget about each other's color, because then you're colorblind. And if you're colorblind, you can't really see what's going on. You don't know what color is in that future, or what color those UFOs are, or whatever. You really don't know. I saw this picture one time. I think I mentioned this before when we talk about prejudice and racism and stuff like that. About this guy. He was a German officer during the Holocaust, and he died. But he woke up and relived and woke up in Germany as one of the Jews that he persecuted. He woke up in a concentration camp. Scared him to death. So you don't know what. Be careful. Be careful about who you hate or what people you hate. Be careful, because it can boomerang on you. And you'll be creating hatred for your own self. Remember, this world is a mysterious place. Don't forget. Keep yourself together. Hey, look, before I go, I got a couple more minutes. Have you purchased your copies of They Lived in a One and A Giant New Wednesday? If you haven't purchased your copy, would you please do so? And I say this because we need money. We need money to function. We don't write these books just for charity. We write these books in order an income, so that we can enjoy the way of life that I'm telling you about, so we can overcome poverty and all those things. So purchase your copy as soon as you can. We got another book coming out for the Christmas holidays, which is going to make great gifts, great reading. It's nothing like sitting down reading a good book in your spare time and listening to some beautiful music and drinking your favorite beverage or whatever. So until next time. Now the next step, we're gonna have another interview, and we're gonna answer questions about what this, what that, and what this and what that. And so which makes a get acquainted interview. That's what I call it. To get acquainted. Because this world, if we don't find a way to make things better relationship, social relationship, where we speak to each other, smile and shake hands and have and enjoy each other, if we don't make things right pretty soon, hey, things can go pretty bad. So I'm gonna do whatever I can to make things better, and I hope you do also. So to everybody in every country out there, and every culture, and peoples of those countries, I wish you the best for you, and try to get along with each other. If you do, we're gonna have a better world, and I think better things is gonna be available to us. So this is Thurman saying, hey, put something in your pocket. Put some of these ideas and words in your pocket that we talked about tonight so that we can share them again. So this is Thurman saying, so long and be good.